Today's program of Cape Cod Arts is brought to you by the Voice Studio of John Murrell. Please join Mr. Murrell on Sunday, July 29th for a program called In a Sentimental Mood. John Murrell sings the songs of Duke Ellington, William Merrill, pianist, and Mick Carlin, Ellington author. Sunday, July 29th, 7 p.m. at the Pilgrim Congregational Church in Harwichport. For more information, please call 774-313-9012. In a Sentimental Mood, the songs of Duke Ellington.
Hello, and thank you for watching Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell. My show is a look at the art scene on Cape Cod, from Falmouth, Bourne, and Sandwich, all the way down to Wellfleet, Truro, and Provincetown. In fact, today we're going to be on both ends of the Cape. My guest today is Hal Brook, the new artistic director of the Cape Cod Theatre Project, which is in residence at the Falmouth Academy in Falmouth. And then I would like to do a profile of the Wellfleet Harbour Actors Theatre, otherwise known as WHAT. I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening in Provincetown this summer and check in with Lily Harrington, who had her first episode on the Glee Project very recently. Again, thanks for watching Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell. It's summertime on Cape Cod, and there are so many fabulous things happening. But one thing that I want you to write in your appointment book is on July 4th and July 5th in Provincetown at the Art House is Seth Rudetsky and Broadway legend Patti LuPone. They will be performing 3 concerts, and I suggest you give it a try. If there is ever a Broadway star, it is Patti LuPone. And if you don't know much about Seth Rudetsky, he is Broadway's greatest fan. He's a magnificent accompanist and a wonderful, thoughtful interviewer. Patti LuPone, Seth Rudetsky at the Art House in Provincetown. If you've been following Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell, you know that my guest last month was Lily Mae Harrington, a former student of mine who broke into show business by getting herself a role on the Glee Project. Well, the first episode was last night, and it's fabulous. Just to remind you, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. on Oxygen. You just have to search a little bit, but you'll find it. It's called The Glee Project, and Cape Cod's very own Lily Mae Harrington is looking for a spot on Glee. Check it out. I'd like to talk about a play that I saw at the Wellfleet Harbour Actors Theatre. I don't want to call it a review because the production was so strong. It's not about being good or bad. I just want to tell you a little bit about it. On May 26th, I attended the opening performance of the 28th season of the Wellfleet Harbour Actors Theatre at the Julie Harris Stage on Route 6 in Wellfleet. The title of the play by Jose Rivera is called References to Salvador Dali Make Me Hot. Now, is that a title or what? Before the production, executive director Jeffrey George came out in front of the footlights and welcomed and thanked various people. One comment that has stuck with me. He said that what strives to present the kind of theater that you are not likely to see anywhere else, at least not in the near vicinity. References is a bit difficult to explain. It's complicated to share the plot line, but it was very easy to watch. The plot involves Gabriela, played by Aniela Gonzalez, who is living alone, well, sort of, in the desert, waiting for her full-time military husband, Benito, performed by Robert Najarian, who also plays the seductive Moon, to return from his assignment. During his absence, she is visited by the Moon and has conversations with her cat. Remember the title has Salvador Dali in it? Salvador Dali, the highly imaginative Catalan surrealist painter. There are so many messages in this play, and there doesn't seem to be one focus that we, the audience, are expected to take away. The playwright, Jose Rivera, manages to articulate life's many complications and challenges. If I could give you the theme that I received from the play, life is what you make it, and there are no formulas. The play, which I viewed over 2 weeks ago, is still in my thoughts, so that's saying something. All the details in this production were attended to, from the imaginative set by Nick Dorr, to Nathan Lee's music and sound design, to Carol Sherry's imaginative costumes. The production was clearly conceived as a whole. I will assume that much of the care and thoughtfulness can be attributed to What's new artistic director and director of Dali, Dan Lombardo. Unfortunately, by the time we were able to get this program on air, references to Salvador Dali Make Me Hot is closed. But please consider the rest of What's season. Let me tell you about it. On June 16th, the opening of The Consequences, a premiere of a new musical. July 14th, Saving Kitty, a world premiere. August 4th, Hysteria, or Fragments of an Analysis of Obsessional Neurosis. That's a title, no? A play by Terry Johnson featuring Salvador Dali again and Sigmund Freud. On June 12th, at the Provincetown Inn, Mary Birdsong's one-woman play, Judy Speaks. Judy, of course, being Miss Garland. On September 1st, Oblomov, written by Pam's artistic director, Kevin Rice. For more information, please visit the What website at www.what.org. What.org. Thanks a lot.
My guest on Cape Cod Arts with John Murrell is Hal Brooks. Hal Brooks directed the national tour of Neelajah Sun's Obie Award-winning No Child, which, after a year-long critically lauded run at both Barrow Street Theater and the Epic Theater in New York City, toured nationally and internationally. Hal directed productions at the Berkeley Rep, the Woolly Mammoth, the American Repertory Theater, Looking Glass, Long Wharf, and the Kirk Douglas Theater, as well as at the Dublin Festival and the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He is currently the artistic director of the Cape Cod Theater Project and the associate artistic director of the Ojaya Playwrights Conference, where he has directed readings by Bill Kane and Mona Mansour. He was the artistic director of the Rude Mechanicals Theater Company in New York City. Hal Brooks.
Our guest today on Cape Cod Arts is the new artistic director of the Cape Cod Theater Project out of Falmouth, Massachusetts. His name is Hal Brooks, and I would like to welcome you. Welcome, Al.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, before we get into the Cape Cod Theater Project, which to me is a kind of theater I love, you're new to the Cape. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences and what you've done?
Well, I've been to the Cape twice, 2008 and 2009. I developed 2 new plays at Cape Cod Theater Project.
Okay.
But this will be my first time here full-time, or rather seasonally full-time.
Yeah.
I am a developer of new plays. I'm a director of new plays. I've direct new plays in New York, and I'm a freelance, so I go across the country. That's my bread and butter is new plays. I do a lot of I've done a lot of solo plays that have had some renown, which has been great, and I just try to do as many plays as I can because I'm a director, and that's what we do. So.
Do you ever act?
No longer. I was trained as an actor at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, and that's when I had my wonderful epiphany to become a director.
Wow.
So I did all the training so that I could do something else.
You know, when you talk about new plays, you may not know it or do know it, but I'm a singer, and I have done a lot of opera. And what happens in the world of opera is that everybody sees Traviata, and everyone sees La Boheme, and they go see Madame Butterfly. But after a while, after you see the 20 operas, if you don't see something new, you're going to just see Traviata. And for me, personally, either performing in them or seeing them is really sort of dull. And so when someone like Philip Glass brings out a new work, or Bill Bolcom from Michigan brings out a new work, it's exciting. And do you feel that way in certain ways? I mean, we can only see Romeo and Juliet so many times, or A Streetcar Named Desire, before we're like, okay, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I believe that the history of theater is about the history of new plays. You know, we get excited when there's a breakthrough play. When Death of a Salesman happened in '48 or whatever, it's a new play.
Yeah.
Now it's part of the canon. But, you know, every 3 to 5 years, there's another play that breaks through and kind of breaks open doors and allows us to kind of revitalize and replenish what we see as great theater. And now what we do at Cape Cod Theater Project is we want to be the people who present that play for the very first time in a reading format, in a staged reading format. No sets, very little lights, just actors on a stage with music stands reading from a script. And you'll be hearing plays that have never been read before out loud. It's brand new.
And the playwrights there?
The playwrights are here for a week. Yeah. So the playwrights, basically it's a week-long process. Playwrights, director, and company all arrive on a Sunday. Monday through Saturday, they rehearse every day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, we have a presentation. After every presentation, there's a talk back with our audience. They give feedback, what they liked, what they didn't like about the play, what moved them, what images they feel are going to stick with them. The next day, so this is, let's say, a Thursday night, Friday, the writers can hit the books, and they could write new pages. So that on Friday night, it's going to be a different play. And on Saturday night, it could be a wholly different play. I encourage the writers to make radical changes that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise make to the play. But, you know, if they're feeling a little gutsy, they should go for it. So that if you came on a Thursday and a Saturday, you might see 2 very, very different plays. And that's really exciting to be part of.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you come and you're not going to see a curtain, you're not going to see big glitzy Golame costumes. Basically, the actors are just dressed like you and I?
Yeah, that could be. I mean, you're going to see great actors. You're going to see, you know, New York-based Broadway, off-Broadway actors who are going to come up and who probably have decent chops.
Yeah.
And so what you're not, it's not going to feel, hopefully it's not going to feel like you're being ripped off in any way. In fact, I think you're going to be, it's like you're being invited into something different, something new, something you really haven't experienced, something fresh.
There's a pulse, right?
Absolutely. I think that, you know that you're part of something live whenever you go to the theater. And this is no difference. The only difference is that it's, we're only rehearsing for a week. And rehearsals are, it's all about the development of the new play. And the audience is part of that development process. It's not, let me sit back and just, let this play wash over me. I'm asking people to kind of lean in and be part of it and be active and listen. And then in the talk back, tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what moved you. Tell us what you think might feel like something that should switch. A character that you're drawn to. A character that you don't think should be in the play. It's that early. It's that earliest stage in the process.
You know, Al, I've seen a lot of big Broadway productions and touring things, and I don't know, as a performer myself, but as an audience member, I am never particularly interested in sets or costumes. And I mean, to me, it's all about the dialogue and the relationship. So for me, Cape Cod Theater Project is a natural. I've always said, just give me some nice lighting and a black backdrop and let me use, because we're using our imagination anyway, right?
Yeah, that's
so
the
who
idea.
cares if we can tell it's a real chandelier or not? We can imagine it, to use a reference for Phantom, by the way.
Exactly.
So then if you take away the costumes and you take away the sets and the lights and all the showbiz, what exactly is theater? What is it?
It's intimate. It becomes that intimate, almost mystical connection between the artist and the audience. And in a way, by removing all of that stuff, what you're doing is you're sort of like taking away a little bit of that little barrier that prevents you and I, the performer and the audience member, from kind of being together. You're just mentioning the big production. I knew that after Spider-Man opened, the next thing that Brantley was going to go wild about was going to be the simplest thing, that the light was going to be a candle.
Yes.
And it was, in fact, it was a production of Cymbeline that was, 6 actors that did the entire Shakespearean play with as little props as possible. And I was like, that is going to get the response. And sure enough, it did. Because what we want is good storytelling. No matter how, like elaborate the spectacle, what we really want is a good story. I mean, Spider-Man could be a great musical if it had, a great story. And eventually, who knows, maybe now it does. I don't really know. I saw it early, and I slept often. But all you need is something that's going to allow the story to pour over you in such a way that you're really actively listening and you're part of it. And that's all you need.
Are there any? Can you think of any sort of success stories that of a production that came from the Cape Cod Theatre Project?
We have had, in our 18-year history, this is our 18th year,
yes.
We've had 60 productions, or rather 60 staged readings, 44 of which have gone on to have further productions.
Wow.
At varying stages. We've had one that's gone to Broadway, that's Paula Vogel's Mineola Twins.
Oh.
And we have had one that's been to the West End, that was a play that was developed by Neil LaBute, who will be back this summer.
Right, I noticed that. Yeah.
We've had several off-Broadway and several that have played regionally. One that comes to mind is a play called Back, Back, Back by Itamar Moses that was directed by a woman named Pam McKinnon, who is currently the director of Clybourne Park on Broadway.
Oh.
So, I think that oftentimes, one hopes that it's the play that makes it, but oftentimes it's the artists that come here that make it. So that Pam McKinnon has gone on to bigger and better things is great. So we've been able to provide a space for her to develop her chops, her skills in developing a new work that's hopefully come to fruition in something else. That's a plus for me as far as I'm
that's
concerned.
great. I don't know if I'm supposed to be embarrassed, but I'm a fan of Smash. I like it.
Good for you.
Sort of
you and my wife.
Yeah, you and your wife. Yeah. Is that sort of the way shows come together, or is that just a little too glitzy for me? I know you're not particularly a musical person, but do you feel like they're relatively showing the way a Broadway musical is put together from your observations?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like a lot of it's all about the backstory, and there are certain things that happen in those backstories that I really don't believe actually happen. The casting couch being one of them. I mean, it has happened, but does it really happen still? I don't know. Maybe it does.
Sure.
But I mean, I think that most importantly about that show, it's written by somebody who's had a lot of experience producing theater and writing for theater and writing for television. It's a kind of a wonderful combination of both those things. So, I think that she's borrowing from what she knows and embellishing it because she knows the form that she has got to fulfill, which is television.
Of course. I have a question. 20 hours probably to some people doesn't seem like very much rehearsal time. For high-level actors with good chops, like you say, do you feel like that's acceptable amount of time?
Absolutely the right amount of time. Sometimes when you rehearse a little bit more than that, you get into that weird nether stage where you're not sure if is it a reading, is it a production? Actors start to ask bigger and deeper questions that get them a little bit further away from the presentation of a staged reading. I've worked on workshops, staged readings, where you get into that 30 to 40 hour range, and it becomes this kind of weird mishmash. Is it a production or is it a reading? And what we're really focusing on here is it's a reading. You get to see great actors in a reading.
I went quite a few times, and I was there before Falmouth Academy was air conditioned, and we would sit there and sweat and pretend, but there was one time it was very warm, and it was just an awful production. It was about cats, and they were doing like inappropriate things, and I just was angry. And I couldn't even say anything in the audience thing to Andrew Polk, who is the former artistic director. It just was so sophomoric and made me angry. You don't particularly want to bring up that kind of energy.
Here's the thing. Not everybody is going to love everything that I do. My mom told me that once, and she's right. But I don't want to be provocative deliberately, but I would love for everybody to come see all 4 plays and come back and say, it was an amazing season. I loved all 4 of them. It's probably not going to happen. Probably they're going to love 2, they're going to like 1, and maybe they won't like another one. And what I like and what you like may be 2 very, very different things. Right. So that's great. It's funny, you mentioned that you didn't like that play. When I read these plays, I had a reading committee that helped me. We got about 200 submissions, And some of the plays, I had a rating system.
Okay.
So some of them got the highest possible rating. And some of them got like really low ratings. And I was interested in both of those. The ones in the middle, not so interested. I was very curious about the ones that got really low ratings because I wanted to know, like, why did that reader respond that way? And if, in this case, it tended that I agreed with them.
Okay.
But, that's not always going to be the case. The thing that I love, the thing that I'm drawn to, may not be the same thing that you're drawn to. What I'm hopeful is that you'll be appreciative of the effort and that you'll be interested in being part of the process. And even if it's saying, I hate plays like that, well, that's good for me to know.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Good.
It's good for it's good for the playwright who hopefully has a sturdy ego to be able to hear, well, this play is not for everyone.
Tell me, I've got 4 plays.
Yep.
They're all new, right?
Each play is new.
And I have to say, American Hero,
Yep.
Bess Wall.
Yes.
Wall.
W-O-H-L.
It's probably German at some point.
Maybe.
Wohl. I don't know from your point of view how, and I feel like the arts world really still is more dominated by men than women. And that's just a casual observation.
Sure.
So I was happy to see that she's in there. So she's doing a play called American Hero. Can you tell me about the rest of the plays?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, to respond to your point, it was a mission of mine to make sure that women were represented. I have 1 woman as a playwright, but it looks like I'm going to have 3 women directors, which is great.
Good.
I've also initiated this year a Writers in Residence program, 2 of whom are women, and a 3rd is a man. So it was important to me that we get those voices here on the Cape, and that those plays are developed. So that was great. American Hero's hilarious. It's a play by Bess Wall. It is about workers at a Quiznos, who are facing some hard economic times. Their boss disappears, and they've got to stay in business. And they are finding ways of dealing with each other and getting what they need out of life. And it's very, very funny. The first play is a play by Mike Daisey. If you know Mike, he's been up at the Cape twice before. He developed The Agony and the Ecstasy of Steve Jobs, which got him into a lot of hot water. Big controversy because it turns out that he was not telling the full truth about in his presentation. And he's a master storyteller. He was on. His play was at the Public in New York. It had 2 separate runs there. It's been a huge hit for him. So just as he was peaking, this controversy erupted. I love Mike. I think Mike is a master storyteller. He and his wife are, that's his director, they have a wonderful rapport. And when I got the job, I was like, I've got to get Mike back here because I think the world of him. And so once this controversy erupted, I spoke to him and we spoke about what that next work would be. How is he going to reinvent himself? How is he going to build his credibility as a storyteller when people thought what he was saying was true and it turned out he was taking artistic license. So I don't know what the piece is going to be.
It doesn't have a title yet, right?
It's a new work by Mike Daisey, and he is mesmerizing. So I think people will really love that, and those who have followed the controversy might want to, ask him a question about it. So that'll be neat.
Nice.
The one that I will be directing is called Chrysalis by Joshua Allen. It is a darkly comic play about a young stepbrother and stepsister. The stepsister is in love with her stepbrother.
Okay.
Their parents have mysteriously vanished, and it's just as her body is starting to change. She thinks like an adult, but her body is not that.
Sure.
And she is visited by a butterfly lady who she has interesting conversations with. Her stepbrother brings a girlfriend home for the first time, and it causes her a lot of trauma. So it's very funny, very dark, and very exciting. And Joshua is a wonderful writer. He just finished the Juilliard program I think a year ago. And he's a voice I really want to encourage. He's pretty wonderful and remarkably smart. And then the final play is Neil LaBute, who people may know of. Neil is a filmmaker as well as a playwright. He's been up on the Cape twice before. And this play is called The Money Shot. And it's about 2 Hollywood actors who have to film a sex scene the next day. The director is encouraging them to go all the way.
Okay.
And they have to find a way to broach that subject with their respective partners. So they have dinner and try to discuss it.
The 4 of them or 2 of them?
The 4 of them.
Oh, funny.
So it's it's a classic LaBute. I think people are really going to love it. It's going to be very daring. It's racy, and it's. I don't think it's necessarily controversial, but it's going to be fun to see how audiences react. Nevertheless, I should add that there's been a change in the scheduling. Initially, Josh Allen was going to be in the second week, and Bess Wall was going to be in the third week, but we've switched that. So Bess Wall, her play will be the 12th, 13th, and 14th, and Josh Allen's Chrysalis will be the 19th, 20th, and 21st of July. All of the shows are 8 o'clock at night at the Falmouth Academy.
Okay. All right, do you suggest that I go to opening night, or middle night, or closing night?
I suggest you go to as many as you'd like.
Okay.
It might be fun for you to come to a play that you're really, you've said you've been very excited about Bess's play. Why not come on a Thursday and a Saturday? See how it develops. Maybe that's the way to do it, or maybe just go to one. Either way, I hope that you participate in it, and chime in with what your feelings are about the play.
I've seen many productions, and I don't know, I live in West Barnstable, and it's always a schlep to go to Falmouth, as you just came to our studios in here in Sandwich. It's not an easy drive, and I always like a slightly but I have to say, except for that one play, I always loved it. I was engaged emotionally and intellectually, and there is something exciting about being a part of the process as opposed to, okay, this is set, it'll be the same exact show tomorrow night, and when it's in Walla Walla, Washington, it'll be the same exact show. So there's something about that pliability of a new play, and actually like seeing the person that I've seen in a character at the end of the play is like back as a regular person. There's something magical. It really is. So I encourage, I wouldn't have you on as a guest if I didn't like it. I encourage everyone to come to the Cape Cod Theater Project. The season starts July 5th, so you get through your little holiday, and it basically goes right through the end of July, every weekend.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 o'clock every weekend of July.
And some people, I think, do run away for at the end of the play, but I do think that going to the after talk is really great. It's great. Now you have intern writers, and then you have intern high school students, because I think I've sent people to you once before, to the company. So you're actually encouraging development, right?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know about how you became a singer, but I became a director because I had a fabulous mentor who was an acting teacher and a director. And that's what I'm hopeful about our intern program, is that we'll be encouraging the youth of American theater to make that leap and become professionals themselves. We're enhancing our intern program. We're going to have 5 college-aged interns as well as 3 high school-aged interns. Each of them will be involved in every aspect of the theater, from being in the room doing rehearsals to helping with marketing, helping get tickets sold, helping with the box office, helping me, helping the company management, getting actors back and forth. They'll also be partaking in classes that will be taught by our writers in residence as well as the main stage playwrights themselves.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's a really great opportunity for any young person who's interested in theater to kind of throw themselves into what it's like to make theater at the developmental level. So.
The Cape is a magical place, and you probably don't know this, but I really make my living as a voice teacher. I teach people how to sing. And there's always that looking over, like, what is it really like? And you try to explain to them. But when they actually do their first summer stock production, they're like, oh, this is how it really works. He was right. But so for you to actually let the students see seasoned Broadway actors or New York actors and be a part of it, it's eye-opening, right?
I would hope so. I mean, what a great opportunity just to be in the milieu of that. So
I think so. Yeah. I'm going to be there.
Good.
Thank you very much for coming. I know you're a busy guy.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure to be here. I hope everybody comes to see the show. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hey, ciao.
Thanks so much. Ciao.